All right, welcome. We're just going to give people some time to get on here. This is probably the first time in a while since I've been live here on our Samba Tree channel. So just give me a minute or so to get things together here, and then we're going to get started here. For those of you, if you're watching on Instagram, I honestly don't know how this is going to look. Okay. I don't know how this is going to look, but let me see if I move over a little bit here, and maybe you can see my face here. But if you're watching on Instagram and you don't see everything that I'm showing, you can check us out over on our YouTube page. Just go to YouTube, do a search for Samba Tree. We're on there. Or if you're on Facebook, we also are on Facebook. And you could check us out over on our Facebook page. Just again, do a search for Samba Tree, and then you can see the video here. Like I said, I don't know exactly how it's going to show up on Instagram, but I figured, hey, why not? Let's give it a try here and see what it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do now is let me put on some music here. We're going to give people about a minute or so, and then we're going to get started. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're just going to give people about a minute to get on. And I'm very excited about this video, this broadcast that we're going to do. We're going to, this is usually the time we do our weekly series that we've been doing called Real Intelligence. But we're going to skip this week, and we're going to focus. We're still focusing on the brain, but we're going to look at, this is a lab. Think of this as a lab where we have an opportunity to learn something in real time on why this is important and what we've been talking about. Okay, so I'm just going to give people a little bit of time to get on, and then we're going to get started. Okay. All right. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and get started, because this is one of those videos I did, it's almost like a spur of the moment thing. So it wasn't like it was something that was pre-scheduled or anything like that. So people who are going to want to watch it, more than likely it'll be people who will watch the recorded version of it, which we're going to have available here on YouTube. Again, if you're on YouTube, we are just do a search for Samba Tree, and you'll find our YouTube channel. Again, the YouTube channel is Samba Tree. Then we also are on Facebook. We're live. We're broadcasting there as well. Do a search for Samba Tree, and you'll find us on Facebook. And last but certainly not least, we're on Instagram. So I'm actually broadcasting on Instagram as well. This video will be available there as well. But I don't know how it's going to look. Okay, because typically when I go live and I'm involving Instagram, I usually format it in that, the tower format, so that, everything is seen in that tower format. But I'm not doing that today. So, I don't know if anything gets cut off or anything, but if that's the case, then you can go on those other two platforms and you can definitely watch. If anything, you can just listen, to what we're going to be talking about. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. And I think this is going to be a very important topic. As I said earlier, when I first started, normally every week we have been doing a series called Real Intelligence, where we're taking a deep dive look at the functionalities of the brain. Am I a doctor? No. Are you a doctor? Some of y'all may be, but most people I would assume are not. However, that shouldn't stop us from learning the basic functionalities of our brain and our body for that matter. And there's plenty of information out there that's free of charge where we can learn these things. And as I've said many times on our platform, when it comes especially to the brain and the functionality of it, this is something that we all should have learned in great detail in school. If we can learn all the bits and bytes of our computer and know when to upgrade our computer and, how to install memory and how to install software and all this other stuff when it comes to our computer, we should know how to care and take care of our brain, all the different functionalities of it, and how to upgrade it. Yes, you can upgrade your brain. And that's what we've been talking about on this platform and some of the things you can do to literally upgrade your brain. And so anyway, so this is a series that we have going on this platform. It's free of charge, open to everybody, and it's right here on YouTube. So make sure you check it out when you get a chance. Okay. And again, as always, this broadcast is brought to you by Sabbatry, where we really do care in the health and wellness of our people. And this is what we invest in. This is what we are all about. This is the purpose for what we do. And so anytime we learn something new or, whatever, we want to share that information. But we also have a store at sabbatry.com. If you go there, you're going to find all kinds of great things that all align with health and wellness. We believe in 100%, meaning that the products that we sell, we are keying on products that are 100% natural. All right. That comes down to dental stuff, that comes down to stuff you put on your skin, things you put in your body, so we've developed our own seasonings, food seasonings, for example, that have a lot of flavor, but they're 100% natural. We've also, we have skin products that are 100% natural. We have all kinds of herbs, all kinds of powders and bitters and all kinds of stuff. So again, if you haven't been there, make sure you check out sabbatry.com. This is a great time to do it because we have a promo going on right now, 20% off of pretty much everything in the store. You want to head over there now because that sale ain't going to be going on but for so long. Again, the website is sabbatry.com. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. What I want to do first is I'm going to show you a video. In fact, I'm probably going to show you a couple of videos. And I want you to take a look at these videos and we're going to talk about these things. All right. I don't know if you're like me, there's a lot of times I look at when I'm on, regardless of the platform. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, right here. When I'm on social media, I unfortunately, you see a lot of things on social media, right? But I also see a lot of things that are unfortunate that I don't like seeing. And the thing specifically I'm talking about is when I see these events or these instances where I see Black folks in particular just flipping off. Now, let me be clear here. This is not exclusive to Black people. In other words, you got people of all races that flip off and go crazy. Okay. So let's be clear, as we're starting this conversation here. This is not exclusively applying to Black folks. However, in this conversation, that is where our focus is. So again, I don't want anybody emailing us or messaging us and saying, why are you just picking on Black people? I'm not picking on Black people. I'm simply talking about one segment of a much bigger problem. However, it's a segment that a lot of people that follow us or listen to us or whatever are a part of. So this is why we're focusing on that. Okay. So I just want to be very clear with that. So a lot of times when I'm on social media, and I'm sure many of you as well, you'll see these videos where you'll see Black folks just over the most trivial things, just flip off. Like it can be anything. Someone looked at you funny. I'm just going to flip off. I'm going to knock you out. You stepped on my shoe. I'm going to flip off on you. I don't like how you did this to me. I don't like how you spoke to me and, or whatever it may be. And the reaction ranges from, an argument, a verbal argument to something of or a physical confrontation, or unfortunately to something that involves someone losing their lives. And this has become it's become so common now that it's pretty much associated with part of the culture, right? It's become something that, well, that's just kind of how it is. Now, I don't know where whoever's listening to this, I don't know where you may fall on this whole issue regarding Carmelo Anthony. Okay. And I got, there are people who say, well, hey, listen, don't mess with us. If you mess with us, that's what you're going to get, that kind of thing. But when you actually look and listen to the story, I don't care where you are on this, you got to ask yourself, is taking someone out physically, is it worth that conclusion based on someone just simply maybe saying some words towards you that you don't like? Is it worth that? Is that an acceptable conclusion in a society, in a community? Is it acceptable in where you have a civilization, civilized people? Should civilized people behave in this manner where if someone offends you, says something that's offensive, the conclusion should be pretty much anything, including taking them out? Should that be the acceptable conclusion? Well, what we're seeing is, in many cases, it is becoming more and more the acceptable conclusion. I talked about on a different platform with the Carmelo Anthony situation or whatever. We went to the, what was the page? It was I don't know if it was GoFundMe or Give, Send, Go, one of the two. There were many mothers or people, on there, all I'm doing is going by what's on the comments, mothers that were saying, talking to Carmelo Anthony, he reminds me just like my son. There are many of them that were saying this. You remind me so much of my son. This is why I'm going to contribute $100, $200 or whatever it is. And I'm sitting up here scratching my head. I'm like, your son has this kind of reaction to anytime someone that he deems to be offending him? Your son will react like this? Well, this is something that's very concerning. This is something that I don't know if that's something that we should be necessarily proud of. You understand what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, this is something that is very commonplace. These types of reactions. When you go on YouTube, for example, and I'm getting ready to show you a couple of videos where if you go to these police cam, channels, there's plenty of these police cam channels that showcase, unfortunately, many, I ain't talking about a little bit, many examples of black folks, especially black women. Okay, I'm not picking on you. I'm even begging you, go to these channels and you can look at them yourself, where the reaction just goes automatically to 10 off of something just basic. It could be a traffic ticket. Okay, ma'am, you were speeding and we're going to have to give you a ticket. And it goes from that to the person being arrested. But when you see the progression of how it gets from that to them being thrown into prison, it leaves people scratching their heads like, okay, well, why did she have to escalate it to that much? Right? So this happens over and over and over again. And we have plenty of video footage right here on social media that captures these moments over and over again, to the point where for a lot of people, it's become, in some regards, almost like entertainment, where they're like, okay, I know where this is going to go. And so it gets to this place, or now it's to a place where it's, for the most part, it's normalized. Well, I personally don't want to normalize that kind of behavior. Here at Sabbatry, we've been really doing this deep dive into really trying to find out what is the root cause of these things and what can we do to be an active solution to it. Because see here, we don't want to just sell herbs. Anybody can do that. Anybody can sell herbs. Anybody can do that. What we want to do is get a little bit deeper, and we want to find out what's going on up here. What's going on up here in this brain of ours? First, let's understand it and how it operates. And number two, what are the things that we need to do to make sure that this brain is healthy so that when we do encounter different situations, we can make better decisions, regardless of what it is, right? So herbs do play a part in that, but I'm stressing it's only a part. There's other bigger issues that are attached to this thing that also need to be addressed that Sabbatry, we're not equipped to handle those things, all right? But what you put in your body does play a part. But I stress again, it's other issues as well that I would highly recommend you need to go to people who are professional, who have been trained, who are licensed in these areas, that a lot of folks, you need to start going to these types of people for real. But I want to show you one video first, and then I'm going to show you another video. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to ChatGPT. All right. And we're going to do some analysis here. You and I, we're going to do an analysis here. All right. And the goal of this broadcast, at the end of it, you're going to have a much clearer understanding on what's going on up here and what we need to do to get on the road of repairing it. Okay. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to sit here and just talk about the problem. We're going to look at this. What are the solutions to it? Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's go to this video here. And let's check this out. Now, let me set it up for you. This was an accident that took place in Trenton, New Jersey, city I'm very familiar with. I'm born in Philadelphia, up until the age of, 6 or 7. And then we moved to Philadelphia, from Philly, we moved to New Jersey or whatever. So I'm very familiar with Trenton and all of that. Trenton can be a very rough place, okay? Very rough place. And here, but in this example I'm about to show you, this is a young lady. It was her and her passenger, or actually, I don't think she was driving. I don't know who was driving here. 2 black young ladies are in a car. They get into an accident at an intersection. And I want you to see the progression of this black woman. Okay? We're going to watch it. We're not going to watch the whole video, but I just want you to see where this thing escalates, how this thing escalates. They're going to give you a preview at the beginning of it. So without further ado, let me go ahead and put this video on screen here. And let's take a look here. Okay, let me go to this video here, and here we go. All right. All right. Sound warning. Okay, here we go. Sorry, let me get this up here. All right, here we go.
Take you back to Mexico. Ugly, your kids ugly, your law ugly. Go to Mexico. Go to Mexico. Pushing me around. Wrong with you? Back the up.
Today on Uncovered, watch this complete disgrace to society have the most obnoxious and prejudiced meltdown when she gets into a car accident with a Hispanic family.
You sure? Because she about to go.
While she has the right of way, they sped up would not stop.
I have 2 kids from
So what happened?
She's saying they right in the stop sign.
I find you on the street. I'm getting from the cops and knock. You're getting knocked in your nose.
Ma'am, I'm asking one more time. Step over here. Thank you.
Call your brother, call somebody black. Come on. You should take them back to Mexico.
One more time.
Take you back to Mexico. Go back to Mexico.
That's your car? The white car?
Yes!
Go stand by it.
The suspect is completely belligerent and shows no initial signs of cooperation. She's unable to control her emotions for the entirety of this incident and only continues to get more aggressive with the family.
Go to your car. And we need your license, registration, proof of insurance. I mean, ma'am,
you need your documents.
You need your documents. Well,
The suspect refuses to share any information with the officers while she is distressed, so they try speaking to her friend instead.
I can't drive that car.
Before all like She stopped at a stop sign. They just kept going. Isn't it like y'all feel like a oh, you could take a report or something like
So
that?
there's a report going to be made. It's you were in the car with her.
Yeah, I was on the passenger seat.
So I mean, if she calmed down, we can actually get this stuff rectified. But her acting like this ain't nothing gonna get fixed. I feel you. I understand that, but somebody has to do something. If you want to go in her car and get her documents for me, because the report's going to be made regardless.
You need license or
I
something?
need her license, registration, and proof of insurance. All that needs to be inside the crash report, right? And then we'll take a story from whoever, and whoever was driving, we'll ask these questions. But her yelling and trying to fight the people, we can't. We're only getting one side of the story. She's not even giving a side of a story.
They sped up. They sped up.
Okay.
So who fault?
La foto de la aseguranza, por favor, porque no me lo
That's what I'm
descarga.
trying to figure out. You have your license.
Come on.
Your car is pretty much.
What? It's pretty much what?
I don't know if it's drivable.
I don't think so. Can you help me out and see?
Well,
You dumb beans. I would spit on you. On you. You're spitting on you.
Whoa, relax. Yeah, we're gonna have to cuff her or something.
No, I'm not. I have a crisis record. They know me already.
That's gonna be your next stop.
Get out my car!
Man.
Get out of that!
Ma'am, I need your registration and insurance if you want me to do this report, correct?
As the officers try to gather her license and registration, she continues to freak out and shifts the blame to her friend who was in the passenger seat.
I'm not doing shit for nobody else. Cause stupid Toddy had me rushing. Car and you!
Can you explain what happened again? Because I
alright.
couldn't hear.
So she was driving.
She was driving on here.
Stopped right there, and then nobody was coming with. Nobody was coming. So she kept driving. This car just came. I don't know what it's doing. Like, just kept going. It stopped or nothing. Just kept going and just kept.
I'm doing it right now.
Is there like coming?
Yeah.
Somebody's coming to pick y'all up? Okay, cool.
I'm drivable, right?
No, it's not. It's not. I don't know what to tell you. It's easily fixable, but you just can't drive it right now.
How much is it to fix it?
Well, I don't know. When the record gets here, it's okay. So listen, man, go to your car. Go to your car.
Now I want you to take note here. Let me stop here for a second. So you saw that, she was being very belligerent and all of that and just going off on people and all that. So, she goes from that stage to now all of a sudden she's crying. Now, that's not going to last too long because she's going to switch up again. So let me actually fast forward a little bit here. And what we're doing is extremely important. I want y'all to understand how important this is, because there aren't too many platforms that I know that would actually take a look like this. Like, you and I, we both know. In fact, let me just kind of switch off on camera here for a second. There are many platforms right now that are making a killing, and I really mean this, on showing videos like this, like I'm showing you right now, and using it as proof that black women are X, that we need to leave black women alone or whatever. In this case, we're talking in this particular example, it's focused on a black woman, but I could show you a number of videos that have black men that are acting like this too. You understand? So we're not taking a stance. We're not using this information as a way to nail down or to assume that this is all black women and this is why men, we got to separate ourselves from black women. No, we're not even, that's nowhere near on this. Instead, we're using this information. This is data to me, right? But it's personal data, meaning that my interest in it is it's involving black folks, and we can use this information to learn from it and to actually fix it. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can fix the problem. So this is in no way, shape, or form any kind of entertainment or, we're just kind of like gawking or whatever. No, I want to fix this. So I'm not just using this as a way to get more clicks or anything like that. No, we're looking at this because we want to learn from it. And as we continue on with this broadcast, we're going to get more into the science of what's really going on here. And then most importantly, what we need to do to fix it. Okay, so let me go back here. I'm going to play just a few more minutes of it, and then we're going to get down, because we always start at a high altitude and then we start bringing the plane down closer and closer here. So we're starting off with this, and then we're going to get into a video that's going to bring this even closer to home to what we're talking about. So let me switch back and let's continue to watch this video, okay?
Can you, ma'am, listen. It's crisis. It's crisis. It's not that.
Kids ugly too.
Listen.
Y'all all ugly. That ugly, your kids ugly, y'all all ugly.
See?
That way.
You're ugly. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. Leave me alone.
Come on. Look, I'm not about to chase her down. I'm not chasing her, bro.
Now, I want you to take note, too, of this cop, because police officers, you know, unfortunately, because of the history, and again, the police departments all across the country have a long history of, unfortunately, on, certain behaviors towards black folks, racist behavior. But that doesn't reflect on all police officers, nor does that reflect on all police departments. Yes, you do have officers who do cross the line for sure. Now, police departments over the years have made some adjustments to that, especially when they're dealing with someone who's in a crisis mode like this individual here. It's a complete mental breakdown that we're witnessing right here. And what I have observed is, unfortunately, you do have officers who go too far the other way. And you just heard this officer, the one that's holding the broom right now, that's like, I'm not chasing her down. I'm not going to do anything or whatever. And he's actually one of these officers that's really going the other way, because as an officer, you are there to basically to control the situation, and to allow this woman to go and to hurl all kinds of insults to this family, to throw trash all around. And now you got her just running all across this scene and running down the street. And you as an officer are just sitting there like, I'm not going to do anything. She's in crisis and we're not going to do anything. Well, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as an officer. But like I said, I understand why he's taking that approach. But, again, your job is to control the situation. And unfortunately, he did not do a good job with this. But that's besides the point. I just wanted to mention that.
It's crisis. It's crisis. It's crisis. It's crisis. It's crisis. It's crisis. Have
I don't need crisis.
Listen, yes you do.
I need to figure out my car.
Your car is done. Listen, go talk to my mans in the ambulance, please. Thank
I'm
you.
not going with y'all. Whatever y'all think, I'm not going with y'all. Leave me alone. Talk to
She
me.
needs medical attention. She needs medical attention. All right, cool. She's a more sensible medical attention.
I'm just going to skip him.
Act crazy, bro. We just get told.
And see, now you see her, she just dancing. And then you got people, clapping.
Go to Mexico. Go to Mexico.
And then finally, they handcuff her. You got people cheering in the background, the whole nine. And then they take her to the station and this whole thing continues. Okay. So I just wanted to show all of that first. Okay. For that one. But this is something that you do see a lot of being uploaded on social media, where it's just a complete turn off in the mind. Almost. It's like, what the heck is going on here? You see a lot of this. Okay. Am I saying all black people are like this? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is this kind of activity or behavior that you see a lot of, that you hear that cheering in the background. A lot of people, when they see that, it's like this. They got their camera like, yeah, girl, go ahead. That's right. You tell them. So it's something that's kind of embraced. It's something that's laughed at. It's something that's used almost as a form of entertainment. But that has to stop. Now, remember I said we're going to start off in a high altitude. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this thing down a little bit. We're going to look at another video. Now, this video is a story that just happened, because this video here that I just showed you, it was uploaded. They're not giving me a date here, but this was uploaded 7 months ago. But this video, actually, this story that I'm going to show you right now is something that just took place very recently. And basically, it's a McDonald's. This took place at McDonald's. and it involves two black women. One was the manager, the other is the employee. And in short, this woman, the manager, from what we're being told initially, basically had been sending this employee home early, right? Who's another black woman, had been sending her home early. So this black woman who was being sent home early, well, she had enough of it. She said, I'm tired of being sent home early. And plus she's saying all kind of stuff about me or whatever. So this story has a very unfortunate end. So what does she do? She goes home, comes back to the job, and kills the woman. All right. So I'm going to show you this video here of the woman who unfortunately committed the crime. And I want you to take a listen to her. OK, let me pull this up on the screen and let's take a listen here. OK.
I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. This shit isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in this store, you know, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. She has no respect. And it isn't funny at all. Like, seriously, man, I got shit I gotta take care of. And she keeps sending me home early. It's not funny. She's playing games. And then all day, throughout the day, she keeps sending her little racial shit. And then throughout the day, she keeps on, like, putting negative energy in the air, talking about people, gossiping about people. It's not funny, man. That shit gonna have to stop. She's a bully. I'm telling you. She's a bully. She brings a lot of negative energy in there. She always panic when it's a lot going on. And then she try to manipulate that and make it seem like we ain't doing something right. But we are working really hard and doing great. It's just the fact that she panicked. And I caught her a few times making a mistake. And she tried to hurry up and play it off. You know, nobody's perfect. It's fucking McDonald's. It happens. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, somebody might get confused. So fuck, it gets busy, yeah. But she needs to stop playing like she don't be making mistakes. I be catching her. So all that animosity and shit that she keep putting in the air and stuff, then trying to tell me I'm always snapping on people. No, that's false. No, I don't snap on people. I don't go in there doing that. I tell her, no, I make peace. That's what I'm doing. I've been creating peace. So all that negative energy that she's bringing in there and trying to manipulate it, no, that's going to stop. All that negative shit she's saying about, you know, her personal life, all of that. No, she's bringing all of that in there and then playing games saying she want to take her belt off and beat somebody. Y'all act like my kids in here. No, we ain't your kids. Respect us. Stop talking to us like that. That shit is crazy. I'm telling you. But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny. Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny. It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So, you know, she could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that shit is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Okay. So again, this is, I told you, you know, the background of the story, and basically the way it ends, unfortunately, is that this lady that you just saw talking, you know, she made the decision to go home, get a knife, and unfortunately end the life of this manager, black woman, who, by the way, from what I understand, she has like 6 children. So now these 6 children do not have a mother. Okay. So what I did was I said, okay, I am going to describe what I just showed you, not the first video, but this latest video that I just showed you. And because what I want to know is what exactly is going on in the mind, what's going on in the brain of these individuals that do flip off like this. Because I gave you 2 examples. Every day in America, we see these kind of situations happening all the time, where you got young men that are just killing one another over the most simplest of things. What is going on, or what is not going on in the minds of these individuals that just flip off like that? And you'll be surprised, some of you will, when you look in the comment section of these videos, as I talked about, even with the Carmelo Anthony situation, of the many people who see or hear about these situations, and their reaction is, well, hey, listen, I kind of see what she's saying. Just like in this last video I showed you, there were comments from people that was like, listen, I'm sorry what happened, but shoot, you can't be messing with people's money like that. So again, it's something that has become normalized, right? So anyway, so what I did, I told you I went to ChatGPT. Now, like I said, again, be clear, ChatGPT is not a doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical person or anything like that. However, this is some information that we can take a look at that will give us a clearer picture as to what exactly is going on in the mind, right? So here we go. So what I did, let me kind of make sure it's all fitting on the screen, and then I will bring it up on the screen. And then you and I, we're going to actually look at this together. Okay, so let's look at that and let's go. All right, so here it is. So here's my prompt. I actually described the situation on what's going on up here. Okay, and so what I did at the end of the prompt, I said, and for this example, we're going to assume that this individual has no known history of mental illness, because we really don't know. All we have is a report. That's it. Okay, so there are going to be some things that are going to be mentioned in this analysis that we haven't gone over yet, in our series, but I can kind of give you a generalization of what it's talking about. Okay, it's fairly easy. All right, but I just want you to, know there's going to be certain things that's going to be mentioned that it's probably going to be, if you're going to hear these words, I'm like, oh, what the heck is this or whatever. So, I just wanted to warn you on that. Okay, so here we go. Below is the kind of brain circuit constellation that has shown up over and over again in people who lash out violently after a perceived humiliation, even when they have no formally diagnosed mental illness. Again, we're assuming, we're on the side that this young lady that we just heard doesn't have that. She could, but we're just going to err on the side that she doesn't have any prior history of any kind of mental illness. Okay, so here's the first column: behavior clue from the case. She feels singled out, sent home early, broods on social media, returns with a weapon. What she did, she went home, she gets on social media, she's complaining about her work situation and all of that, right? And then as a result, she goes back to the job with her weapon. All right, let's move on to the next category here, or the next section. It says likely neural liability, hyperreactive amygdala. Now, we talked about the amygdala. The amygdala is the part of your brain that controls, really, it's like your emotions, right? And it's a very important part of your brain, all right? And this is where all your emotions are, a lot of your emotions are formulated, and all your passions and all of that is formulated there in your amygdala, all right? And so what they're saying here is that what it sounds like is a hyperreactive amygdala that tags mild social setbacks as a high threat. So your amygdala, because it's hyperreactive or inflamed or enlarged, it becomes a lot more sensitive to things that are, you and I would just see kind of run of the mill, or it's just life. But because it's enlarged or it's hyperreactive, its reaction is going to be amplified. It's going to be more than normal, right? Than a normal person will react to things, right? Okay, now let's get to the other things. Supporting evidence, and they give you the links to scientific research and all this other stuff. That's why I really like this platform here. It gives you more and more, where you can really pare down into the research of this. Okay, so it says meta-analyses of reactive aggression shows the central medial amygdala lights up first and strongest when people view ambiguous or neutral cues. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Decides, we're going back to that column again. We're at the beginning here. Behavior clue from the case. Decides on lethal revenge within hours. All right. Now, this sounds like quite a few cases that I could think of. You remember, what was it? The case of the young man who, whose father got pissed off. Oh, that's what it was. It was a young man, black man, a teenager or whatever, that was made a bad choice to ride with his friends as they stole a car. They stole this vehicle, and it got stopped by the police. The police told them, hey, listen, y'all need to get out or whatever. They decided to take off running. This one young man decided to reach in, and what they're saying, according to the police report, he had a gun, and you cannot do that. You can't reach for a gun if a cop is telling you to freeze or to stop or to lay down. He reaches for his gun, and then when he did that, the cop did what he had to do. The father didn't like that, and so within hours, the father of this young man decides to get in his car and find a cop who had nothing to do with this case and run the cop over. This is exactly what I'm saying. And the reaction that I have seen from people on YouTube, people with YouTube channels that have thousands of followers, have been very supportive of the father on this. This is how normalized this kind of reaction and behavior has become. This is what we're addressing. All right. So we're at the next column here. We're right over here. Likely neural liability. What's going on? A thin, underconnected ventromedial and orbital frontal prefrontal cortex. Poor cost benefit computation and moral forethought. Let me kind of break that down for you just a little bit. So basically, what's going on? The executive part of your brain, the part of your brain, that prefrontal cortex, that frontal lobe, and that part that actually takes the information that it is getting from the amygdala, and it's saying, okay, the amygdala, just imagine, is running into the office. Boss, I got to tell you something. These people are getting on my nerves, and I think we need to do something. We need to do something, And the prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, is saying, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Calm down. Let's look at this information a little bit. Now tell me, start it from the beginning. And then the amygdala is like, okay, all right. Okay. All right. So what's happening is this. And then the prefrontal cortex, that frontal lobe area, is like, okay, all right. So I got the information. Now this is what we need to do. All right. But in this case here, and in many cases like this, what's happening is that the amygdala is so enlarged and so is hyperreactive that it's overpowering what the prefrontal cortex area, the executive, he's like almost intimidated. He's like, oh snap, I don't know what to do here. So what ends up happening, and I'm getting ahead of myself, is the amygdala is the one that's leading the charge in these decisions, right? So anyway, so back up. Poor cost benefit computation, and more forethought. Move on. Next column here. Homicide offenders have markedly reduced gray matter volume in their ventromedial, orbital frontal cortex, insular and anterior temporal cortex compared with other violent but non-homicidal offenders. Basically, we talked about this in our series. Again, the gray matter, that's where your thoughts and your stuff is going on there. Your thoughts when your thinking is going on in that gray matter. If you are not challenging your brain, what's happening is that gray matter literally becomes it shrinks, right? And also the white matter, it shrinks too. We'll get into that in a moment. So when you're not challenging yourself and you're not challenging your brain, when you're not challenging that gray matter, actually that layer, it actually shrinks. It gets thin, right? And so that's what they're talking about here. All right, let's get to the next thing here. Next one below here. Acts on the plan despite life-altering consequences. So this is what's happening here. All right, next column here, it says damaged brake cables, the white matter tracks. Okay, we talked about this in our series. Again, the white matter, think of it as the gray matter is where all your thoughts and stuff are taking place here. Okay, it's kind of like all kinds of things that are happening there. You remember we talked about when you learn something new, you got new branches that are coming out in that gray matter, and those new branches, as they're expanding and creating thickening that gray matter, those thoughts then get transmitted through the white layer, which is below the gray matter. The white layer is, think of it as a highway. Think of it as a huge bundle of fiber optic cables, right? And when that is lubricated right and everything's going good, it makes it a lot easier for those thoughts and all that to transmit to the different areas of your brain. But if you're not challenging your brain, that area too gets shrunk. It shrinks. Okay. And so that's what they're saying here. So damaged brake cables, white matter tracks, especially the uncinate fasciculus that links the PFC or the prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. All right. Now, I just described to you what's going on there. All right. Reduced integrity of the uncinate fasciculus, hope I'm saying that right, shows up in aggressive TBI patients and violent offenders. The same track that's highlighted. Okay, goes on, right? All right, now the last one is here. No prior mental health label, but extreme emotion-driven violence. Reactive aggression phenotype. Fast amygdala, slow, no top-down control, intact planning for daily life. So again, that goes back to what we were saying earlier, that amygdala is just, it's firing off, right? And there's nothing there to control it, right? And then it goes on, it says large MRI reviews of the reactive versus instrumental aggression finds this exact imbalance, amygdala hyperdrive plus weak prefrontal governance. That's everything I just described to you earlier, okay? Hope you guys are with me. If I'm losing you, please let me know. I'll try my best to explain it even further for you. But I'm just wanting to give you, like I said, an overview. I'm just giving you kind of a generalized thing of what's going on in the head. Okay. How these pieces play out. It treats the threat miscalibration. The oversensitive amygdala floods the system with "they're out to get me" signals at the moment the manager says go home. So immediately any offense an individual experiences, they immediately interpret it as "you are out to get me." Now, I'm here to tell you there are many people that are walking around us today, many people who are around us today that fit in this category. You can go on social media right now and you will find people, all you got to do, you just saying something. That's all you're doing. You're just saying, well, that's not exactly true. You know what I mean? If they post something and it's not accurate, they immediately take it offensive. They immediately take it, it's a personal attack on me. That's a red flag. Okay? You got a lot of people out here today that function just like this. All right, let's get back to it. All right. Impaired cost checking. The ventral medial prefrontal cortex. Let's see. Normally, the part that weighs long-term fallout and emphatic concern doesn't supply enough inhibitory weight to counter the amygdala's urgency. What does that mean? Basically, that prefrontal cortex, and remember, this is the executive part of your brain. All right. The part that sits down and thinks about what the amygdala is giving it. It says, you know what? I hear what you're saying, amygdala. I hear what you're bringing to me. And I also hear what you're expecting me to do. You want me to go and cut this man's head off, but you going too far with this. You need to let's slow the roll here. Let's think about this, okay? Let's process this. That's the part of your brain that does that, right? And so what they're saying here is this: that part is impaired. They say it doesn't supply enough inhibitory weight to counter the amygdala's urgency. So what is that saying? It's saying that the executive is underdeveloped. You have many people out here today. There are literally parts of their brain that are underdeveloped. That are in comment sections, that have YouTube channels, that have TikTok platforms, that are on Twitter, X, that are on Instagram, who literally have one of the most important parts of your brain, the executive quarter. it's underdeveloped. Now, everything I'm saying here, it can be fixed. And you don't need pills to do it. Okay? That's the good thing. But this is what we're dealing with right now. Understand? Anyway, let's move on. Number 3, it says faulty brake cable. All right. I think this gets into the white matter here. Even if a sliver of second thought forms, it travels a frayed uncinate facilis, hope I'm saying that right, arriving too weak or too late to stop the motor program that's already underway. What does that mean? Let me kind of break that down for you. So this brake cable that they're referring to, and I have an image here that I can show you. I'll bring it up in a moment. But what they're saying is that white matter, remember, all your thoughts are in the gray matter layer, right? Which is the top layer, right? And then those thoughts then get transmitted. They're transmitted through the white matter, which is below the gray matter, right? If that gray matter is shrunken, right? If it's shrunk because you haven't really been challenging your brain on anything, what ends up happening is that when those thoughts are formulated, whatever thoughts are in that gray matter are formulating, it's traveling through the white matter. But the highways, let's think of the white matter as highways. The highways are just basically busted. And what that means is the signals that are supposed to be transmitting throughout the rest of your brain so that it can weigh out all of everything in a balanced way, what's going on. The highways are so busted that what ends up happening is the signal, it becomes too weak, right? But your motor functions that are in your left and your right hemisphere of your brain, they are already acting. So you think gray matter, right? The thoughts are going in your mind. It goes straight to your amygdala. And then immediately your amygdala goes right to your motor functions and is already saying, punch this person out or kill this person or cuss them out. You understand what I'm saying? That's what's happening. All right. Number 4, execution of a revenge script. The behavior is reactive, explosive, emotion first, spur of the moment that matches what's imaging studies find in a single incident homicide more than in planned instrumental killings. So it's just reactive. You just become a reactive person. All right, almost finished here. Likely pass to the brain profile even without a psychiatric record. So even if someone doesn't even have a history of mental illness, this is what basically is happening. All right. Route chronic early adversity, abuse, neighborhood violence. And they say how it reshapes the same circuits. Cortisol, and I'll explain what cortisol is in a moment. An inflammatory cascades thin prefrontal cortex, gray matter, and a large amygdala nuclei during development. All right, I'm just going to read through this, right? Next thing, it says repeated head trauma. So another cause could be head trauma. Some people maybe fell, or maybe if they grew up in an abusive household or whatever. You'll be surprised. Many people who've grown up in abusive situations where they have experienced head trauma. All right, sharing injuries to the uncinate facilis and cingulum reduce frontal limbic connectivity. TBI samples show parallel aggression spikes. All right. Again, we're just reading through this. All right. This is information. Even if you're like, I don't understand what you're saying, this should challenge you to dig even further. There are tools where you can do this. All right. You can even say, ChatGPT, explain this like I'm a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old. It will do that. Okay. It's very important. We need to do this. All right. Heavy adolescent substance use. THC and alcohol exposure during critical windows stunt prefrontal maturation and amplify threat salience. I'm gonna bookmark that. I'm gonna come back to that in a moment. Okay. Trait impulsivity, callous, unemotional features, lower resting heart rate arousal, plus reduced anterior cingulate thickness bias towards quick, low fear aggression. Okay. Let me say this. Let me go back to our bookmark here. Marijuana, for example, when people talk about, yeah, man, I'm going to be smoking this weed, it literally contributes to this. It amplifies the amygdala. It literally amplifies it. And give me a moment here. I'll bring it up and I can explain to you what weed does to your brain, particularly to your, you think, oh, it just calms me down. We're gonna look at that. Okay. All right. And then I'll just read this part here. The snapshot you described maps onto hot amygdala, as we said earlier, weak prefrontal brakes, and frayed white matter highway configuration. That triad, documented repeatedly in reactive homicidal violence, doesn't require a formal psychiatric diagnosis to exist. It can arise from developmental stress, basically in your home, right? Head injuries or long-standing impulsivity traits. All right. And then we'll go to that. All right. So this is the image I was talking about right here. So it's showing you, this is kind of a visual of what's going on here, right? So the top layer, that's your gray matter. If you use to slice this in half, you'll see your gray matter here at the top. And in the middle, you got your white matter. All right. Your gray matter, this is where all your thoughts and stuff are firing off and going all over the place. That's where all those branches and stuff formulate. Inside, you got the white matter. That's like millions and millions of just think of it as a highway of just all kinds of fiber optic cables and all that stuff. Just think of it that way, right? And then your amygdala, which is in this area right here. This is your threat center, fight or flight, okay? And then this right here, your prefrontal cortex area right here is in self-control, cost benefit. And then this area here, the uncinate fasciculus, all right? Your brake cables. That's the part that says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, that's it right there. Okay, so that way you can see what's going on there. All right. Okay. Cortisol. What is that? It's the body's primary. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna try it. Let me challenge myself. Glucocorticoid hormone. A steroid made in the outer layer of the adrenal glands and released into the bloodstream when your brain stress circuit, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, or the HPC axis, says, we've got a challenge. Here's the breakdown, and I'll make it even simpler for you. It's basically, what does it do? It mobilizes fuel. It raises blood glucose, frees fatty acids, quick energy for fight or flight. So when you feel that, when you first like, oh, what, and you ready to fight, you ready to throw down, that focus you get, that's that cortisol. That's that's happening. You getting that focus, right? It tunes immunity. Short bursts curb inflammation. Chronic elevation suppresses immune defenses. Next thing, shapes mood and memory. Moderate spikes sharpen attention and memory. Sustained high levels can shrink dendrites in the hippocampus and thicken fear circuits in the amygdala. All right. Keeps a daily rhythm. Peaks at 20-30 minutes after waking up. You get that get up boost and gradually falls to its lowest points near midnight. And so basically in the beginning of the day, you're kind of groggy, and then all of a sudden as the day progresses, you're getting that focus, right? And then towards the end of the day, you're kind of like, oh, because it's time for you to go to bed. All right. So there you go. So I just wanted to explain all of that to you. I know that's a lot there. Let me see what our sister's saying here. A couple of things here. Peace of mind counseling. She said they're trying to kick the can down the road to mobile crisis counselors instead of trying to de-escalate their own. She's talking about the cop. I saw when she posted this earlier. I just want to make sure I'm getting these comments. And then she later on said this there. Make sure you visit her channel too. Peace of mind counseling. A lot of these folks are have unresolved and unprocessed trauma, which is stored in the back of the brain. The reason why the frontal lobe is smaller is because there is no movement of those experiences. Exactly. And I would add to that as well. Do you know that stress also can store within your fat? Literally, stress is stored in pockets all throughout your body. When it runs out of space, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to store it here, there, right? This is why, and I'm just going to say it, this is one of the many reasons why we are doing what we're doing over on Sombetry, the website again, sombetry.com. The reason why we're doing this alternate day fasting thing, and if you haven't signed up for it, I really encourage you to do it, because it is contributing to the solution to address this thing where you're losing weight. Now, again, the focus isn't losing. We're not talking about losing weight so you can be snatched and you can have that snatched waist and all that kind of stuff. It's not about that. Okay. That's a benefit. But part of this is helping your body to eliminate the stress that it's been carrying around for years and years and years. You literally got people walking around. You looking at people and they know me. Yeah, and look how fat that person is. Look how big and thick and whatever it is. You got folks out here that are applauding people, and we call them they're thick. We say, man, that girl look thick, don't she, man? That girl look thick. Not realizing that these thick people that you see walking around, and you sexualize these people, not realizing that that thickness that you're looking at, part of that is actually stress. So we're looking at the stress and we're making it into something beautiful. You see how backwards this is? We're sitting here looking at the stress of somebody, and we're looking at, look how thick this girl is. Man, she got that thing behind, she got them big hips, and she got them big, you know what, and all that stuff. And we're looking at this, and we're saying, we're concluding that, you know, that this is beautiful. And I'm not necessarily saying that people who, you know, you unattractive if you overweight or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that we're not really addressing the much deeper issues that's going on with a lot of these individuals. This is a part of obesity. Part of obesity is stress. Stress is also a contributing factor, and it does show up. It's your body literally takes that stress and it stores it up. You understand what I'm saying? But we look at this and we glamorize it. It's crazy, ain't it? So anyway, so this is why we're doing the thing that we're doing over on Sabbatry. That's part of the reason. I mean, there's many other things that Nicole's going to go over in the class, but it's more than just losing weight. It's actually giving your body the opportunity to reset, to flush out the things that needs to be flushed out so that you can become focused, and to give all the different parts of your body an opportunity to begin to function properly. And then we have this free course that we're doing right now, where we're talking about all the different functionalities of the brain so that you can understand what needs to be done. And then also we have the different things. You go on sabbatry.com. We actually put together, we looked at a couple of things. We looked at people who have melanin, a lot of melanin, like me, right? And I'm sure some of y'all are looking at right now. You got significant amount of melanin in your skin, right? Now that melanin, what it's saying is it's telling you that this body has unique needs, right? There's a lot of similarities in our bodies. If you're dealing with a white person, an Asian person, or whatever, we share a lot of different things, right? We all have hearts, we all got brains, we all got livers, we all got spleens, we all got, so we share a lot of things. But there are some significant things when we start looking in the neurological direction that we need, that we need that are unique to these other people. It doesn't make us better. It just makes us unique. Just like white people, they have unique needs, right? I'll go back to my example again. When you go to a car lot, you're going to have electric cars. You're going to have trucks that are gas powered. You're going to have small cars. You're going to have all types of different vehicles there, right? With each one of these vehicles, the way you treat these vehicles, they all have a different way that you treat them, right? They're still vehicles, but they all require a unique way of, maintaining them. Well, our bodies are no different. And so for those of us that have a lot of melanin, there are certain things that we need that other bodies don't, right? And so what we did is we said, okay, let's look at that, right? Bodies that have a lot of melanin. And let's look at the unique needs of that. And then what are the herbs that are out here that will best address these different areas of our brain so that we can optimize it, make it healthy, and we can live an optimized life. And that's exactly what we did. So if you go to cybertree.com, we actually put together different packs that you can check out on your own. You can look at them. I'm not going to just go to cybertree.com. We've actually put that together so it's put together where we're thinking neuroscience and we're also looking at melanin, right? And we're putting that together and we're saying, hey, here's one way we can address this. Okay. So that's what we're talking about this. So make sure you check that out. Okay. So in conclusion, because I'm looking at my time right here. So in conclusion is that there are different ways that we can address this. I just addressed a couple of ways. Are there herbs? Am I saying that, okay, like the examples I showed you earlier, those 2 videos, am I saying that, excuse me, okay, child, all you got to do is get some herbs to that woman that was freaking out in the street and, you know, throw her some herbs, give her some tea, and she'll be calmed down that quick. No, I'm not saying that. Okay, no, that's not it at all. Am I saying that all you got to do is lose some weight and everything's going to be fine? No, because doing things like herbs, you know, taking natural supplements and things like that, or going to alternate day fasting, those things are very helpful, but they are only part of the answer. It's only part of it. You know what the much bigger part of it is? You making some choices, some life choices. That's the bigger part. Because when you start looking at the families of these individuals, when you start looking at their living situations, you're going to find a lot of stress that's in that situation, in those situations. So it doesn't matter. There are people who will sit up here and talk about how they have tried every kind of weight loss program and they still can't lose weight. And they're scratching their head and I'm like, child, none of this stuff works. None of these people lying. There's this one girl I saw in this video, you know, she's sizable. And she's literally on this video talking about how diets are racist. I was like, okay, no, they're not. But that's what her conclusion is. And you got all these black people that are around her like, yeah, that's right. They're racist. They don't think about us. No, a lot of this has to do with there are people who have a hard time losing weight. Why? Because their body is storing up this stress. And where is that stress coming from? A lot of times it's coming from right in your own home. Yes, that's right. It's coming from family members. It's coming from people that you choose to surround yourself with. It's coming from what you consider entertainment. You watch that, you indulge yourself into this stuff like Tyler Perry. Anything Tyler Perry, please. It's going to continue to stir up that stress. You do not want to. So the first thing you want to do before you start getting on the road of recovery, by addressing it by, you know, taking natural means or whatever, you must make some choices in your life to separate yourself from as much stress as you possibly can. And that's going to require you to separate yourself from some relationships that you have from people. For some of you, it might be a job. It might be, a job that you're on. That's just, you're getting money, right? You're getting paid, but the stress is just too much. For example, I'll give you a personal example. Years ago, I worked security. This is many years ago. And I was like, I need a job. So I did security. So they had me. So I was working graveyard shifts because it was, you know, unfortunately that was going to be the best time for me. But after a while, I began to see the impact it was having on my health. It was really beginning. I was gaining weight, all kinds of stuff because my sleep patterns were off. This is another contributor to that as well, to everything I'm talking about. If your sleeping is off, if you're not getting enough sleep, that's also a contributing factor to what we're talking about. There's a lot of people within this demographic that have problems sleeping. They're not getting their full amount of sleep. This is another contributing factor. So in my case, I was not getting enough sleep. And so I would work all night. And then as soon as I come home, hear my beautiful children, they're like, hey, I'll see my wife. Okay, I see you. She go to work. And every now and then I'll be able to nod off a little bit, but I never really got full sleep. And after a while, it just drags on you, right? Where you can't make good decisions. You know, your attitude changes, the whole nine and all of that. It's harder for you to motivate yourself and all of that stuff. So these are all multiple contributing factors here. Okay. So these are things that you need to look at. Are there herbal or natural ways to address this? Everything I talked about, those different parts of the brain that I was talking about. Absolutely. There are a whole bunch of things we can do. And we're actually addressing that here at Sombetry. We're actually addressing that as we speak. We're giving you not only are we providing the information, but we're also providing tools as well. So there are natural things that you can do to reverse that. Don't buy into the lie, because we know scientists over the years have tried to make the argument that black folks, we are born deficient and all that. That's a lie. That's not true. Everything that I described, what is the contributing factors isn't something that you're born with. You're not born. Most people aren't born with these deficiencies. It's the environment. A lot of times they're born into. It's mostly environmental. So this is where you have to start making decisions to change your environment. And once you change your environment, you begin to start putting these things in you that you need to put in you, right? And then that's when you're going to start seeing change. That's where the change begins to happen. Okay? So that's how we address this. All right. So the next time when you're scrolling through your timelines and all of that, and you see these different videos of black individuals just flying off and going crazy and all of that, just off of the most simplest of things. Now hopefully you have a much better picture of what's going on inside their heads. But most importantly, you also know there's a way that we can handle this. You understand? But some of it is going to be things that you need to do. But depending on the situation, a lot of people, they're going to have to get some more professional counseling. This is something we tell people all the time. All right. So what I'm going to do, because I just remembered, I want to make sure that I covered this and then I'm done, is I mentioned to you earlier, I wanted to mention the impact of someone smoking weed and what this has on all of this here. Okay. So give me a moment. Let me pull it up for you. And we'll address that real quick. And meanwhile, if you have any comments you want to add in the comment section, please do. Okay. All right. Let me add this real quick. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Impact on. Sorry, almost got it here. Okay, here we go. All right, waiting for that to come up here. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all who are on here. And the recording will be here available. Please share this with as many people as possible, y'all, because this is a very, very, very important topic. Because like I said, again, we're not going to just sit up here and talk about these problems and talk about these people and, we need to separate ourselves and all that. Yes, we do. In a lot of cases we do. There needs to be a separation, but we also got to make sure that the problem isn't something that we are internally carrying ourselves as well. We want to get to the root of it. We want to understand why this stuff is happening, and we want to solve this thing. All right. Let's see here. I'm just pulling it up here. Okay, I'll just go to the bottom here. I'll just read it for you here. It says, in short, cannabis can either soothe or amplify the amygdala's alarm bell, depending on dose, balance, and developmental timing and chronicity, with heavy adolescent exposure posing the clearest risk for long-lasting sensation of this key emotional hub. So what it can do is basically, it's not a good mix, you know, for someone whose amygdala is already at a, you know, it's needing some help. And what's the thing that is oftentimes like praised and encouraged, particularly within the culture, is smoking weed. You don't want to do that. That is not something that you want to do. Okay. You want to stay away from that. Okay. And we're going to do more in depth on that maybe at a future time in a future video. So I would encourage you to stay tuned for that. So if you're not subscribed to our platforms, you know, be it on here on YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook, please do, because this is what we're all about. This is the kind of stuff we like talking about. And this is the kind of stuff we like to do our part to provide some real solutions. Okay. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to email us as well at, what is it? It is care@sabatree.com. Again, it's care@sabatree.com, or you can leave a comment on any one of our platforms and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. Again, thank you so much. You guys take care, and I will be seeing you. We will be seeing you again very soon. So you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your day or evening, whenever it is that you're watching this. Take care now.